Hey Cake Crew! You asked questions and today I have all, or at least most, of the answers. A couple of weeks ago, I asked you to send in your questions and I am going to answer as many of them today as I can, but I want to make sure that you always keep asking questions and leaving comments in the comments below. I love engaging with you guys and I want to know more. Vanessa Kingston asks, what is your most requested fandom to make cakes or treats for? That's a really great question. And while Star Wars and Doctor Who are definitely some of the most popular fandoms, it really depends on what's in theaters at that moment, and that sort of changes what the popularity is. Marls the Meeper asks, what's the most challenging cake or treat I've ever created, and was I satisfied with the result? I think the most challenging cake that I've created would have to be the life-size BB-8 cake, because while R2-D2 was technically bigger, feeding 1,150 people, BB-8 being spherical and having that different center of gravity was definitely more challenging, and I loved it. And everyone that got to eat a piece of him, I am very happy to say, also loved it. Now, the next question is from Brian Slowly, and honestly, it sounds a little bit like he's questioning my geek cred. And while I don't want to answer his specific question because it contains hashtag spoilers, I will say that a tauntaun has 4 nostrils, so hopefully that appeases his geek cred questioning. Farrar asks, what is the biggest or most complicated cake you've ever personally made, and what challenges did it involve? I have created a cake that hangs from the ceiling, and while we've done a couple of those, the biggest one was 7 tiers, and the biggest challenges was making sure that not only did it hang from the ceiling without collapsing, but it also didn't spin. So if you make something that hangs from one center point, and this side has a different weight than this side, it will just continuously spin around and around. So if you're going to do an upside down cake that hangs, you've got to make sure that it's even weight all the way around the whole cake. Galactic Potato asks, do you ever eat your own cake? No. Chris Cartwright asks, when will you be running your next kids' baking class? Never. But we do private classes and birthdays, so if you would like to book one, just send us an email. Nefertut wants to know what my favorite fandom is. And well, I really love pretty much all of the fandoms. However, I do love Star Wars so much that my husband and I had a Star Wars themed wedding. Doctor Who, my favorite Doctor is David Tennant, and Farscape is probably my favorite show. I love video games, usually the RPGs like Mass Effect, and board games. My favorite board game is probably either Arkham Horror or Last Night on Earth, depending on my mood, but really, I love everything. Jerome is getting personal and wants to know who my first crush was. And for that, I've got to say, it was definitely Luke Skywalker the first time that he appears in Jabba's palace wearing all black. Whew! Buddy with the sideburns wants me to tell you my favorite joke. How do reavers clean their spears? They stick them through the wash. And we have a couple of questions from our anonymous viewers. And the first one is, I tried your galaxy cookies and my royal icing oozed off my cookie. Where did I go wrong? definitely added the water a little bit too fast. So if you're going to do that, add half of the water while you're mixing and then just slowly add a couple of drops at a time until you're happy with the consistency. What is your favorite book? I really like Harry Potter books, but I also really like War for the Oaks by Emma Bull. And I have a very strange obsession by reading 1984. I read it every couple of years. Don't know why. And the last question is, what is my favorite episode of Making Every Genre Delicious? I will answer that on the next episode, but I want to know what your answer is. So post that in the comments. And don't forget to check out some of these other episodes. How was that?